Yes, lads, what is going on? And welcome to Season 3, Episode 17 of The Running Irishman. In this episode, we have a huge guest, Craig Engels, aka the Mullet Man. It's an absolute honor to be able to have Craig Engels on the podcast. Obviously, a top world class runner who has ran on the biggest stage in the 2016 Olympic trials, the 2019 Doha World Championships. He's also the 2019 outdoor and indoor American Championship champion, taking down the mighty Matthew Centrowitz. So he's definitely an athlete of high caliber, and also a bit of an icon with quite an iconic and distinct haircut, which we talk a little bit about in this episode. Real quick before we talk about what happened in this episode, I've started live streaming these episodes over on twitch.tv/TheRunningIrishman1. Links will be down in the description or in the show notes. Head over there and tune into the streams to ask viewer questions, to see the podcast before they go out, the day before they go out, and to just interact with me and the guests a little bit more. So make sure to head over there and check that out. Also, Instagram and a lot more is down in the description below, so make sure to give me a follow over there. So, a little bit about Craig. I'm sure a lot of people in the running world do know Craig for obviously his amazing running, but also his amazing hair that I keep referring back to. In this episode, Craig actually has to take this episode in his car due to his really busy schedule. It's about a 40-minute episode. We had to wrap it up as Craig had another call to hop onto, but it was a perfect amount of time. I feel like it was just a sweet amount of time to cover everything, get a laugh in, but also to not have it dragged out too long, which I really liked. In this episode, we talk about Craig's early on success in high school, holding the 800 meter, the mile, and the 3200 meter records. We also talk about his time in North Carolina State, picking up a scholarship there, but then also picking up a few injuries, getting in a little bit of trouble to then kind of force him in a sense to terminate his scholarship there and to move on over to the University of Mississippi, where he continued on running and really did enhance his running career. To then in 2017 to sign for Nike Oregon Project, to be coached by Pete Julian, and to really set off his career, to then be able to run races like Doha World Championships in 2019. So we get into big depth about that and a lot more in this episode. Craig is a really sound guy, and it's a really great episode that all you are going to really enjoy. So without further ado, I'm going to stop talking and we're going to get into this great episode with Craig Engels. Yes, lads, so we are here with Craig Engels. Thank you very much, Craig, for coming on to the podcast. We really appreciate you taking a small bit of time out your seemed to be very busy day to come on and to have a quick chat for about 40 minutes or so.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, brother, and thanks for staying up late just to accommodate.
No problem, man. No, it's not. Don't worry, it's not too late at all. 9 p.m. wouldn't be. I've loads of time anyway, so no need to worry about that. Again, really happy to have you on. You're one of the biggest athletes, I must say, not to blow your horn or anything, that I've had on the podcast. Running in world championships. American national champion, and obviously I'm really looking forward for this episode. So for people that are listening in or watching at home, can you just give maybe a little bit of an introduction about yourself?
Yeah, I think Sean Tobin will be a little pissed here that I'm your biggest athlete ever on there. I went to Ole Miss with Sean Tobin. We both ran the 1500 and 800. In college, I think I ran like 3:37 or something, and never won in relay. But now I run professionally for Nike and I still run the 1500 and 800, but my PRs are down to 144 and 334. I think I got 10th at the World Championships in 2019 in Doha, and I'm training for the Olympic trials right now.
Perfect. Yeah, that was a very very modest modest kind of introduction there, but we can definitely build on that. One thing, I'd say, I don't know if you kind of like going off it or whatever, but one thing I'd say, when I was telling a few of my teammates and a few of my friends that you're coming on the podcast, a lot of them knew you, of course, by the iconic mullet. So just to kick things off, maybe can we just kind of talk about that before we get into the big stuff? How to come about, and yeah, just kind of how it came about to get the hairstyle in the first place.
It seems like we're starting this podcast out hot. This is this is usually the big questions about my hair. Um, I don't know. I guess in college we just were dumb, wanted to be funny, and we would cut our hair into mullets, and we'd have mustaches to look terrible. It was just something funny we did, and my look, I guess. But uh, uh, I'm not claiming this as mine because as soon as I'm done with the Olympics or Olympic trials, I'm cutting it all off.
Oh no! To be fair, I think it suits you anyway. I know some people, especially over here during quarantine, have been trying to give themselves mullets, and I don't think anyone has kind of pulled it off quite as good as you have. So no, I personally I rate it.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I got a lot of messages from people who have grown their mullets out, and they look
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
But I have to respond back and be like, "That looks great, man. You look cool." And a lot of them are gross mullets.
Yeah, definitely just done by their friends out in their back garden or something.
Yeah, which is actually where I get mine done. But
No, no, that's cool, and no, that's really funny, and it's kind of something that the running world kind of needed, is kind of like maybe trends or kind of more of an influencer on that's also running at a big stage to kind of show that it's just not as serious, and you can kind of have fun, a lot of fun with it as well. So it's really cool, and it's really good to see.
exactly, yeah. It's like a kind of, I like looking stupid, but also you can't run bad and look stupid.
Yeah.
Sometimes it puts the pressure on me to run well.
Definitely no, but I think it looks quite good. Kind of, yeah, diving now more into the realm of running things. We kind of started off on a hot topic there, as you mentioned, but kind of getting more into running here. Obviously, you didn't have too bad of a start to running within high school, as they say over there in America. I'm gonna keep it to the kind of your lingo, so we're all on the same wavelength, but graduating from high school, you had the school record in the 800, the mile, the 3200, and kind of, within running within high school, what was it like for you?
Yeah, so I actually didn't really start truly running until junior year, which is right around like you're 16 years old, junior year of high school in America. I had played soccer or football my whole life, and I really liked that, but I just kept getting in trouble, and I was always on the worst teams growing up. My teams never won games. We never won championships or anything. And when I found track and field, I was like, oh, I don't have to depend on anyone else for this sport. This is just me. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and then I kept going with it, and finally got a scholarship to go to college, which was really cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. And did you find when you kind of just started running in high school that you had the natural talent straight away and you were really good, or did it kind of take you time to get into it, I suppose?
A little bit of both. I had a really good high school coach, and he got me down to, in 1 year, in my first year of training, he got me down to from 4:45 in the mile down to 4:15, and then 1 year later he got me down to 4:03 in the mile. Um, so I mean, I think I just started taking training seriously and started running better, but my PRs and everything dropped. But it all dropped. My PRs and everything dropped way more when I started trying to win races. And luckily, I had a high school coach that taught me that taught me never to race for times, just to race for the win. And I'd go into these races and win them, and then look at the clock and be like, holy crap, I just PR'd by a lot.
Yeah, definitely, and that's what I like to hear. I feel like nowadays as well, a lot of people are kind of caught up on time, and obviously
Yeah.
it's really important. But realistically, you're going to run faster than everyone time wise if you go out and win the race. So no, I think that's a good way to think about racing as well. It's just to go out and win, and the times will come with that. Obviously, yeah, you had a really, really amazing starting training hard late. You had an amazing running career in high school, but then that obviously led into you picking up a scholarship for North Carolina State going into college. So, kind of, how did that come about? Did you have any other options, or were you always set on North Carolina?
Yeah. So go when you're in high school in America, you're 18 or 17, trying to decide which college you're going to go to. That you're going to be happy at until you're 22 years old. So as a 17-year-old, I thought North Carolina State was this cool college. Like the team seemed fun. They did on my official visit, which is where you go when you're like you go there in high school, spend the weekend, and they take you out and like you have fun. So I thought that's what the team was like. And I committed and went there, and it wasn't everything like the visit hyped it up to be. It's hard to figure like a place out in 2 days when they're like taking you on these really fun adventures and everything. So I made some great friends and wouldn't trade that experience for much in the world, but it definitely taught me I didn't need to be there. I needed a new scene, and that's when I transferred colleges after 2.5 years and went down to Ole Miss, which is the University of Mississippi, and spent 2.5 more years there running it, and that's where I really flourished. I hadn't PR'd or won a race since high school. In those 2.5 years, I went to NC State, and then as soon as I got to Ole Miss and started training with Sean and everyone, we started crushing it. So I think I just needed a change of scenery and everything, and it worked out going to Ole Miss, where it really fit into my personality.
Definitely, definitely. But we'll move on to kind of your transfer over to the University of Mississippi now in a minute. But just with your time in the University of in North Carolina, kind of what at the start during your freshman year, you got off to quite a rocky start. You got redshirted, as I say, and picked up a good few chronic injuries. So kind of what was that like for you? Was it mentally really, really challenging, or especially going in as a freshman on a scholarship, you're kind of, expectations might be high. So, kind of when you picked up a few injuries, what was it like for you?
Yeah, man. Anytime you start something new, you're super excited, and it was no different for me. I was stoked to be in college, independent from my family and doing my own thing. But it's a big change in life where you got to make your own decisions and you got to be smart. And I don't think I was smart. So, yeah, I kept getting hurt. And the biggest thing that changed from high school to college was I stopped doing like sports. When you go to college, they try and like enforce that you have to be super serious about running and your whole life needs to be about running. But in high school, I played pickup basketball, soccer, golf, like all these other cool sports that were keeping my like lateral muscles and joints and everything healthy. And as soon as I got to college, I stopped doing that because I thought to be a serious runner, you couldn't do all that. And I started getting hurt because I think all those small muscles and like the joints either needed lifting or supplemental sports. And so for 2.5 years, I didn't realize that and kept getting hurt. And then when I got down to Ole Miss, we started lifting, and it kept me healthy a lot more. And nowadays, I play, I play spike ball, disc golf, all these other sports just to keep healthy, and it works. I've been staying healthy for the last 5 years, I think now.
Yeah, no, that's you definitely need, obviously when you get into a college and start running, especially when you're there on a scholarship, you think, you can't be doing anything else except for running when it comes to sport. But definitely you need that kind of balance, and you need that free time as well. That obviously will be beneficial to you within your running as well, to kind of, recover, ease your muscles, but also keep you mentally sane in a way. But in your time in North Carolina State, it wasn't all bad. In 2013, yeah, you became the Pan American Junior Champion in the 1500 meters. So, kind of, what was that like when you start, kind of getting, a little bit of success on the college stage in running?
Yeah. So I had a lot of high school fitness I carried over to college, and I actually made my first team the first year of college. I made a team for USA, the USA Juniors, and I guess for all your listeners, it's kind of similar to Europeans, but it's just North America and South America, and only for people under the age of 19, I think. So that was super cool. I mean, I got all the gear, and that's what most people that age are excited about, is all the gear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So I totally remember getting that suitcase and then traveling to, I got to go to South America, a country called Colombia. And that was such a cool experience, being like in another country without your parents. You're 18 years old, and you get to experience all that. So that was really cool. And I ended up winning that race, which was insane. But I think that kind of drove the rest of my career, where I saw like maybe what I could do if I took running pretty seriously. So yeah, I mean, that was like one of the best experiences in my career, and I really, really remember that one vividly.
Yeah, really good. So, kind of, did that kind of have you thinking maybe, I won't change over to University of Mississippi. Maybe I will stay here in North Carolina State, or were you, after all the injuries and kind of maybe thinking that the University or of North Carolina wasn't for you?
Yeah, I also, it was a lot of injuries there, but I also got in some trouble and I was partying and making dumb decisions. So like a lot of this is my fault. The training may not have been for me, but I was also being dumb.
Yeah.
So I needed a fresh start. I needed to. I was going to actually quit running and go to a university with all my friends and just be a normal college student, and quit running. But my high school coach told me that there was a spot open with one of his friends at the University of Mississippi, and I'm really thankful I went on a visit, and I liked it a lot.
Yeah, definitely, and thank God you didn't quit running, because we wouldn't have the Craig Engels we do have today. So obviously, yeah, that was definitely a blessing from your high school coach. And then eventually, when you did transfer over to the University of Mississippi, how did things change in terms of your running? Was everything kind of smooth sailing from there in terms of, maybe not getting in trouble? Training was there. It was the training that was there was for you, and you start seeing improvements.
Yeah, like I said before, it was just a new change of scenery for me, and that's what all my brain needed. And then I started enjoying running again. I was happy. Uh, it's been a great balance between partying, the social aspect of college, the athletic part of college, and the academic. It was I was keeping such a much better balance, and it was because I had a younger coach who understood like what I needed. And I like some weekends I needed my free time, and I needed to do what I wanted to do, and that was going to keep me sane and keep me healthy. And um, Sean can attest to that too. But yeah, we had such a cool coach at Ole Miss that understood that we were young and we wanted to enjoy our lives. That's the whole point of the running and everything in general.
Yeah, 100%. That's really good to hear as well. That kind of from a young age, people think they need to be training 24/7, as you mentioned. But realistically, you do really need that balance to keep sane and kind of enjoy the social life and enjoy college, to its fullest in a way. So that's obviously really really good to hear. And then, obviously, between then and 2017, you ended up going pro, joining the Nike Oregon project. So, what was that, transition like from being a college athlete to turning pro? Was it a hard one? Did you enjoy it? Kind of what was it like for you, that transition from being a college athlete to then becoming a pro athlete?
Yeah, it was a fun transition. Again, I moved from Mississippi to Portland, Oregon, and it was just all new stimuli for me. So I really enjoyed it, but the training was pretty similar to what I was doing in college. A lot of longer stuff, strength stuff. So I didn't really have that big of a change in training, but I did start having to train alone, which was super tough for me because I really like training with people, and that's one of the funnest aspects of the sport for me. So I guess that was like the biggest change, and I was living alone for the first time in my life and having to make new friends. So, but I love that whole aspect of life. Is these fresh starts and keeping in contact with the people you cared about most from college. So I really enjoyed that, and I'm still enjoying it here in Portland, Oregon.
Definitely, and kind of, I know this is kind of like not a professional athlete's, favorite question in a way, but when you're in college and you're running, but you also have, you need to go out with friends, but also on top of that, you have, your actual college work and your college classes to do that also take up time in your day. But then going into that pro scene where it's all running, it's all about going home, recovering, maybe for another run you have later in that day. So I suppose the question I want to ask is, kind of, did you have to pick up any hobbies really, or did you have to like look for new things to do in between training sessions that day, or when maybe you needed to take some downtime, if you have a race coming up? So yeah, did you kind of find anything to do to kind of fill that time?
Yeah, there's this huge. I mean, in college you do have classes and all that stuff, and when you were pro, you honestly probably work for 2 hours a day, maybe 3, and then you have to fill your days with other stuff to keep yourself sane. So I actually in college we would buy and sell boats on a website called Craigslist here. I know it's funny because I'm Craig, but it's like it's just like where people post stuff for sale. So we would buy and sell boats there. We always had something going on, man. We were always building something, making a garden. But so now I buy and sell a lot of RVs. So right now I'm actually driving from the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, because I just bought a new RV yesterday. My biggest thing is I like buying RVs, fixing them up a little bit, and then reselling them. And then I really like playing golf. I like hanging out with my friends. Anything to be outside when it's nice weather, and to not, like, I hate video games. I hate Netflix shows. I hate it when people sit inside and waste their whole lives. They can do, that's up to them, but like for me, I hate that. So I'm never sitting down. I'm never inside. I'm always doing something.
Yeah, that's really good. Would you say going pro actually allowed you to have more of a social life than when you were running in college?
Probably a little bit less social life, just because in college you're living with your best friends and stuff.
True.
I still live with my friends in Portland, but you got to be a bit smarter just because you're running a little bit more, and I don't know, you want to take it a little bit more seriously than you did in college. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I can definitely understand that. Obviously you joined a pretty big team and joined a pretty big coach being coach with Pete Julian, in 2017 with the Nike Oregon project. Was it always in your mind that you wanted to go pro? Obviously you had the time when the transitions in college where you were considering obviously quitting running, so maybe not that period then, but was there ever really a period during the course of your career that you were thinking about going pro, or did it kind of just happen naturally where you were offered a contract?
I absolutely never wanted to go pro. I didn't know pro running was a thing until like my last year of college. I always just thought, like, I really, really care about renewable energy, and I was actually super stoked to start like a career in that, make the world a better place. But I ran the Olympic trials in 2016, going in ranked like last and almost last in the 800 and the 1500, and ended up getting 4th and 5th. And then agents were contacting me, and people were like asking if I was going pro. I'm like, what the hell? I didn't really know like the options of it, but so I had another good year in college before I went pro, and yeah, so I mean, it just happened naturally, and I'm ready to give it up whenever my body tells me it's done. But for now, it's a fun job. I get to do mostly whatever I want, besides like skiing and
Yeah.
other sports.
The other extreme sports like that, they try to say injury free.
Yeah.
But obviously, Nike Oregon project and any Nike team, Bowerman or just being a Nike athlete is a really cool thing and is a really big opportunity. But when Nike reached out to you, was there anything in specific that really drew you to them, or was it just one of the only people that came your way? What kind of drew you to joining Nike?
Yeah, I got contacted by Nike, and obviously Nike's like the coolest. They're the coolest running company,
Yeah.
so that was cool to begin with. And then they said that Pete Julian wanted to coach me, which meant I would get to train with the reigning Olympic champion Centro. But so I joined. I really actually joined to train with Centrowitz, but he was coached by Alberto. I don't know. I just didn't really realize what was going on when I joined again. So I never actually trained with Centro because he was under Alberto. And then he left the group. So basically the main reason I joined the group to train with the best United States 1500 runner of all time, maybe.
Yeah.
Didn't even happen.
Yeah, then he went on to join Bowerman.
Yeah.
No, would you say kind of, maybe that was a bit of a blessing that Centro was there in the first place that actually, made you sign for Nike? Because would you say if Centro wasn't there, you wouldn't been as kind of motivated, you could say, to even, sign a professional contract?
No, I would have signed a professional contract. Eric Jenkins was also on the team, and my college coach coached him. So I really liked him, so I was gonna join and hang out with him and train with him anyway. So Centro was just one of the, like, I wanted to train with the best 1500 guy, but I would have still gone.
Yeah, no, definitely, because as you said, that is a pretty cool company to sign for, and we'll get more into it in a moment. But just kind of then you went on to be Centrowitz in the 1500 meters American Outdoor Championships to gain your spot in Doha. So kind of you kind of.
Can you repeat that line again? I want to hear that again.
You kind of got your revenge in a way, but yeah, that must have been pretty cool. Come back. We'll come back to that in a moment when we get more into talking about the World Championships in Doha. But when you sign your professional contract, obviously things then become a little bit more serious. You have to start really knuckling down on training because you're kind of employed now in a sense, and you need to kind of do your job. You need to perform for the company that has signed you. But because of that, did you see any improvements in your running? Obviously now you're able to run on a world stage and on the biggest level. So do you feel like signing that contract really did improve your running?
That's a good question. I've never really thought about that. I think I would have run well regardless. I will say running in college is a lot more fun because you're running for a team and you're running for each other. But now running feels way more like a job. So you really do have to have this internal fire. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I think I would have run just as well had I not signed a contract, but I would have had to work a job or something else to pay for this.
Yeah.
I guess it then would have been a hobby, but yeah, right now it's my career.
Yeah, definitely. So maybe in a sense where now you could put all your focus into running, in that sense, maybe it did improve your running in a way.
Yeah, true.
Perfect. So you touched on it there, about the Olympic trials in 2016. Obviously, maybe it didn't go completely your way, but kind of what was your top process going into the Olympic trials? Were you confident that you were going to make the Olympics? Were you kind of just, as bad as I could say there, to make up the numbers and kind of see what happened? I know you came, what was it, fourth in the 800 and fifth in the 1500. So kind of going into the trials, what was your top process?
Bro, I went in there to have fun. My parents never really got. Yeah, my parents never got to watch me race in college, so they were out there, and I was gonna race the 800 and then go on like a trip with them. They had rented an RV. I thought I was gonna maybe make it out of the first round and then get out, but I ended up making the final in the 800, and then ended up getting fourth. And then we still went on an RV trip because I thought my weekend was over. And then my coach called me. He's like, "Let's do this 1500. You might as well." And ended up getting fifth. So my parents got a total of 6 times when they came out thinking they were maybe going to get to see me race once or twice. So a lot of fourth and fifth place finishers are bummed, but I was stoked, man. I couldn't have been more excited.
Definitely, especially with the mindset going in that, maybe you wouldn't do so well and you're just going in to have a bit of fun. But did that kind of drive anything within you, when you were going in with the thought process of just kind of to have fun in a sense, and then you ended up doing pretty well with having that mindset? Did that kind of drive anything internally where you were like, hold on a second, maybe now I could go to the Olympics on an American team and actually, really start, pushing things here and pushing on within your career?
Yeah, I mean, maybe a month or so afterwards, I was reflecting. I'm like, holy crap, I almost made the Olympics. I definitely could have, and I definitely will in 4 years. Now it's been 5 years, and I haven't gotten to prove myself. But
Yeah.
Hopefully this year is the year,
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes ahead as planned in terms of the trials and in terms of the Olympics, and everything is kind of smooth sailing. So, kind of to get into the really good stuff within your career, the 2019 season for you, indoors and outdoors, was, would you say, the best season of your career?
Oh, easily. Yeah, for sure.
So obviously everyone, wants us to be talking about, the outdoor American Championships and Doha, but you started off that track season with an indoor national title. So do you kind of just want to talk us through that in a way? What was were you going in there fit? Were you going in there, wanting to win and to be challenging, or again, what was your thought process?
Yeah, I went in there fit, man. The indoor championships, I just wanted to win. I had gotten fourth in like third, fourth, fifth at so many USA championships. And I'm like, all right, let's just win one. So I finally won that one, and that started my year off great, and then that rolled the confidence from there.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I was thinking. Obviously winning the indoor nationals is obviously a really, really big achievement, and anyone would accept that. But to go on then and win the outdoor national championships, did you kind of have the motivation and the kind of momentum going into the outdoors after getting the win in the indoors?
I did, and I wanted to beat Centro more than ever because he joined Bowerman that year, and so it was cool. Like, I was definitely fired up that year to win, in a way that didn't suit my racing at all, which was like the most shocking way. I usually like sitting back and then kicking, but I ended up having to like lead from maybe 800 out, and just hold off Centro and hold off everyone. So yeah, it was cool to win, and it gave me so much confidence winning in a way that is not like the best races I've ever done,
Yeah, definitely. I was watching the race back before this podcast, and you really took control in a way. Centro win the 2016 Olympics, and just other races that he's been in is well known for his finishing kick and that killer kick, but you really did hold him off. As you said, you were leading sooner than you really wanted to, and coming around the final bend, you really put your foot on the gas, and you came around with the win. So what was going through your head at that time, when you realized, oh, I'm just after making an American team, I could be going to the World Championships, I'm the new American outdoor champion? Did it sink in? Kind of, how long did it take for it to sink in?
Are you asking when I don't know. I mean, I came around that bend and I was in the lead, and I thought I had gapped him, but by the crowd sound, I could tell someone was with me, and I almost celebrated too early. If you've
Yeah,
seen
I've
that,
seen
but
that.
yeah, yeah, it didn't set in until I saw my family. Like a minute after, I got to go up and like hug them, and my parents were almost crying and stuff. It was cool, man.
And then the process of joining an American team and getting the call up to the World Championships. What is that like?
I mean, it's pretty unreal. Like I know the British team and I know the Kenyan teams are so hard to make, but the USA team, for some reason, there's so much pressure on the Olympic trials, and it's a super hard team to make. So I was just so relieved to make the team, and I mean, like obviously I wanted to win the championships, but I was just relieved to make the team.
Yeah, 100%. And kind of, this 2019 Doha World Championships was, would you like your first real big world stage professional race? And what was the whole experience like? I know you can talk about the race, you can talk about the lead up and everything, your warm up on the day and whatnot, but just kind of walking around Doha, seeing all these amazing world class athletes you've looked up to, athletes you've watched, kind of outside the racing itself, just that experience. What is that like?
Dude, it's crazy intimidating and shocking when you step up on the line for the prelims and you look to your left and right and you see world champions and Olympic medalists, and you're like, well, why am I? It's hard not to question yourself seeing all these people. But I made it to the final there, and now I'll have that for the rest of I'll have that confidence with me for the rest of my life. Like when I step on the line, I'm like, oh, I've made the final ahead of some of these guys before. So yeah, I mean, it definitely helped. It's like definitely a big thing in that final, but I want to be able to compete for a medal, and I want to be able to compete for a gold medal at some point. So yeah, Doha was such a cool step in that direction. I'm 10th and gave up a little bit in the final, which I still, when I watch that race, I hate myself. But I'll have some chances to redeem myself.
Yeah, look, even Jakob Ingebrigtsen didn't even have a great day that day. So maybe it was something in the air on the day. But in terms of the final, where on the starting line, where the nerves through the roof. You had Timothy Chariot there, you had Jakob Ingebrigtsen, you had Lewandowski from Poland. Like, you're looking around, you have all these insane world class athletes. You had Centro there, who you just beaten in the outdoors. Again, was your mission to just kind of beat Centro? Obviously, he didn't have too bad of a race either that day. Maybe for his standards, being Olympic champion in 2016, it wasn't the best race for him. But kind of what was going through your head on the starting line?
I mean, I was nervous, but I just knew it was going to be this crazy fast race. So I was trying to gear up for that, and I knew it would be a lot more nerve wracking if it was a slow race, because you don't know what's going to happen. You could fall. But this race, I kind of knew that Chariot was just going to take it, and it was just going to be fast from the gun. So I was getting my mind prepped to run fast as fast as I possibly could. So I wasn't really thinking about anyone else now.
Yeah, definitely. End up running a 3:34 flat or a 3:33.9. I can't remember what it was officially, but definitely for your first kind of world championship race, when they come around again and hopefully you make the team again, it all comes with experience in a way. Even me, from a lower level athlete, of course, running in my first All-Irelands here is completely different to running in your second one. You have a lot more experience, you know how to control the nerves maybe a little bit more, and then you kind of start getting into your head that I've been here twice in a row, let's kind of start competing for medals and not just kind of making up the numbers in a way. So would you say next time around, or even hopefully if you qualify for Tokyo this year, your mental state will be a lot stronger going into a bigger competition?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. And kind of overall, were you happy with your performance for your first world championship race, or kind of what was your thought process after the race?
No, I was definitely bummed. I was in a little bit of a depression after, just because I had so many like higher expectations than what I did, and I felt like I gave up at the wrong time in that race. I gave up with like 500 to go, and then with 300 to go, I was like, oh shoot, I think I could get back in there, but it was too late. I had let them go, so it just sucks. And then now it's been 2 years of no like chance for redeeming myself.
And I don't want to kind of boil your blood too much, but was Centro beating you kind of another, someone kicking you while you were down as well? Only a few weeks prior you beat him in the American Outdoor Championships. Was that kind of like a way like the way that you have the capability to beat him, but the fact that maybe you gave up early and kind of didn't utilize that in a way, did that kind of bum you out as well?
No, not as much. I mean, it's the difference between 8th and 10th place at the World Championships, and who the hell cares about that?
True.
So it was, yeah. I mean, like losing to him obviously sucks a little bit because now he has that over me. But that guy's made like 5 or 6, 7, maybe more world finals or Olympic finals. So I mean, I don't know. I guess, yeah, now thinking about it, like I obviously hate losing to anyone,
Yeah.
but the difference between 8th and 10th place is not,
Definitely.
not that crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of just an ego thing kind of between each other, to have it on him, as you mentioned, to just be able to say that you beat him or he bet you. But in terms of positions, the difference between 8th and 10th is nothing superior within each other. So yeah, that's quite a good way to put it.
What did suck though was they mixed up like the drug testing after mixed up me and Centro, so they pulled me in for drug testing, and it took about 2 or 3 hours.
Jesus.
And they had meant to grab Centro. So I was sitting there the whole time at 10th place, bummed out, and they're like, "Oh, we actually didn't mean to drug test you." And I'm like, "So you guys just wasted 3 hours of my life."
Yeah. Or you could be eating your sorrows away in that time after that race.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's definitely a little bit annoying. But look, Craig, I don't want to. Obviously, you're having a very busy day, and you had about 40 minutes for this episode, which is definitely more than enough. But just to kind of cap it all off, kind of, do you have your sights completely now focused on Tokyo 2021 in the 1500s? Is that kind of what all the training and all the hard sessions are kind of leaning towards now at the moment, or are there any other kind of races or events in the back of your head that you're kind of thinking about?
Yeah, I might double again at the trials. I might run the 800 and the 1500. Only a few Americans have the standard in both, so luckily I have the standard in the 800 and the 1500 for the Olympics. So we'll see, depending on what happens these next couple months. If a bunch of people get the standard, then I'll just run the 15. But if no one else gets it, then I'm going to run both, I think. But yeah, my sights are set for the Olympic trials and the Olympics, man.
Definitely, and if you end up making the trials in either the 800 or the 1500, if you end up making the Olympics, kind of, are you going in there with strong attitude, in the sense that the fact that you've been in a world championship final, you've been up with the big dogs, maybe some could say, and now you're going into the Olympics kind of with a lot more confidence maybe than you went into the world championship. So even though especially the 800 and 1500, it's a they're two very, very hard events even to podium in. So kind of, what are you looking for in them races if you end up making it to Tokyo?
We'll see once I make it. We could talk again, but obviously I want to be in the final of both.
Definitely. No, we'll be everyone will definitely be looking out for you, and especially it won't be hard to miss with that very, very luscious mullet. I suppose, would you be getting it topped up before the races?
Oh yeah, brother, it'll be looking good.
No, I was seeing over on your Instagram there a few weeks ago that you got it topped up, and it was looking fresh. It's been growing back a little bit more since, but no, we'll be looking forward to fingers crossed seeing you in the Olympics.
Yeah, man, I hope so too.
Hope.
By the way, man, you're a great interviewer. You're really good at this, man. I think you're gonna be super successful.
Oh, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. and especially as someone who's been on the Convos Over Cold Brew and the Beer Mile podcast, it really means a lot coming from you.
Yeah, man.
Grand. So as I said, I didn't want to take up too much of your time. Obviously, with training and things going on, at the moment you've been quite busy. You even had to take this interview from your car, which is definitely a first on the Running Irishman podcast, which is really cool.
Yeah, I hope the quality was good. I mean, the quality from your end sounded great this whole time, so hopefully from mine it was good.
No, it was absolutely perfect, and I really appreciate you coming on to the podcast. Hope maybe in the future we could have a Sean Tobin and a Craig Engels double podcast. That'd be quite fun.
Yeah, we'll come to Dublin and do one in person. That'd be a lot more fun.
Yeah, that would be really, really good. So you never know. You never know what might happen after this COVID thing. But as well, I really appreciate you coming on, and as I said, we wish you all the best.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me on, brother.
And for anyone watching and listening at home, I appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you all next time. Bye.